Welcome to Sports Close-Up. Jim Berger, Mike Fiorillo. Jim, today's show, a great win, the legacy of the Pirro family here in Meadville.
Talk about an athletic family that everyone knows in Meadville, the household names.
No doubt. Going to show right now. Let's get right to it. The interview with Tony Pirro and Mike Pirro. Okay, here with Tony Pirro and Mike Pirro. And guys, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Tony, I want to start with you. Tell us about, first of all, I'm interested to know this. Where were you born and raised?
Right in Meadville, Pennsylvania.
Okay, so you started out as a young lad here in Meadville, PA, and how did you get interested in basketball?
Oh boy. Well, back when I was a lot younger, I would go out and play basketball Boynton Street. I don't know if you're familiar with Boynton Street.
Sure.
By Sherman Williams there.
Right.
I would go get a basketball from one of my friends' houses and shovel snow and play out in the street for 2-3 hours a day. And I would just constantly play and practice, and I loved it.
Well, what made you go into basketball? Because obviously, when you talk about when you were young, you didn't have the ESPN. You probably had 2 or 3 stations the most. There wasn't a lot of games on TV. Did you get to go to Meadville games when you were young, or listen to games, or how did you get interested in basketball?
Yes, I did go to Meadville games back in the Lloyd Sher era.
And they were at where the junior high used to be in those apartments, right?
That's correct.
Gym.
Yes, and believe it or not, when I was young, I actually figured on that was going to be the only way I could ever get to school, possibly. And that was the sport that I chose, and then that's what I worked at. So that's how I got involved in basketball, and continuously went working on that every summer.
Okay, you started working on it every summer. You get to the junior high level. I don't know if they had 7th and 8th grade back then, but they probably definitely had 9th grade.
Yeah, they did.
Who were your coaches?
Well, John Joy was my coach because I went varsity when I was a freshman.
Wow, because obviously you must have been talented.
Well,
I mean, if you're playing 9th grade as a freshman back then,
thank you.
I mean, there was a lot of young people playing back then, and they cut back then a lot.
Yes,
too,
they did
correct?
cut. Yep.
So you made it as a 9th grade. You must have great talent, and I know you did from speaking to a lot of people in this community that had a chance to watch you play. Some even played with you. Tell us about John Joy as a coach. He's the man that went to Clarion eventually, correct?
Yes. John Joy was. I thought he was a very good coach. Excellent. I thought he treated everybody fair, and I had no problem with him. I liked playing for him, and I think pretty much the majority of people liked playing for him. So he was a good man, good guy, good coach. He knew basketball.
And what years was when you played varsity? What years were these?
Probably, I think 55, 56 would have been my freshman year, and of course 58 and 59 would have been my final year.
Where was the House of Thrills built when you started, or did you go?
I played at the David Mead, Allegheny College.
Wow.
That's where we played. And then when the new high school came in, we were the first team to play at the new high school and the first graduating class from that school.
Which is amazing, because people don't notice. I know you do, and some people do, that Meadville, it's a great gym now, but that was unbelievable gym back then. They had the foresight to build it like they did with the permanent bleachers, and it was a place to go, right? The Meadville community went there to watch the basketball.
Yes, for sure. And the David Mead was a great place to play basketball too. We were fortunate to be able to play there instead of that little cracker box that they had at the junior high. Yeah.
And David Mead Field housed the Allegheny Gators for a long time, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's get back to your playing days. Tell us some of your teammates back then.
Well, I don't know how many of the players that people would know, but back then Clyde Stallsmith would have been. He was a senior when I was a senior. There was Bobby Hunter. Most people would have known him. John Granis, Phil Pasilla, Dave Miller, a couple of the Hunter boys, some more Hunter boys, Maurice Hunter and Tommy Hunter, and Lloyd Eubanks and Melvin Eubanks. Those were pretty much the, not Melvin, it was Gene Eubanks.
Okay.
Melvin was before me.
How good were your teams?
Never won a section.
And the section back then was Warren, Franklin, Oil City, Titusville.
Yes, pretty much the ones they are now.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we never were fortunate enough to win a District 10. I'm not even sure we won a section. I don't know.
Okay.
It's too far back to remember that. But I know we never won a District 10.
All right, and you're playing real well, and then you had the opportunity to go to college and play. And where was that?
Youngstown University. Thanks here again to John Joy. He invited, the coach then was Dom Roselli.
You coached there a long time.
Long time.
Yes.
And he invited him up to watch me play. Matter of fact, it was the last game of the year for me against Titusville. And that was for a section game, and we lost. But, yeah, so he invited him up to watch me, and he offered me a scholarship, full scholarship, and off I went to Youngstown.
And you graduated from Youngstown, played ball there?
Graduated from Youngstown, played ball there.
And is the gym different than it is today when you played it?
Oh,
Youngstown?
definitely. We played at a high school.
Okay.
Back then it was South High School we played at. And I haven't even seen the new gym at Youngstown. But I understand it's a gorgeous, beautiful, excellent complex,
Yeah.
but I've never seen it. Because I graduated in '63 from Youngstown.
And then you came back to Meadville.
Yeah.
And then you went right into the insurance business, or
No, I had to go. I went to the service.
Okay.
Went into the reserves.
And that was during the Vietnam War. Was it starting?
Well, I
right?
didn't. I was sick. I was reserved, so
Right.
I went 6 years. But I was 6 years basic training, 5.5 years reserve. But I never went anywhere. Just
Okay.
yeah.
And then, why'd you get into the insurance business then?
Well, when I got out of the service, actually I went into J.C. Penney's first of all, under their management program, because that's what I graduated at Youngstown in, was
Right, sure.
retail merchandising. And a person by the name of Max Masters came in to see me one time and wanted to know if I'd be interested in selling insurance. And I come up to see me at the house and threw an insurance application on my table and left, and I told my wife, Kathy, I says, no way I'm going to fill this thing out. I don't want to get insurance. She said, why don't you fill it out and try it? And 35.5 years later, that was it. I was an insurance agent.
Let's talk about your wife, because she is probably, I would say, Mike, the general of the entire family here that keeps things going.
The unsung hero, yeah.
That's right. Where did you meet her, and tell us about the courtship a little bit.
Well, we met in Meadville, and yeah, she graduated in '58. I graduated in '59, but we went together in '57, and we went out together all through high school, and then she waited for me to come out of college, which she did, and then we got married when I graduated from college in '63. We got married on June the 22nd of '63, and rest is history. 54 years later.
Then you have a family.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, you have an older son.
AJ,
Yep.
Anthony.
Right.
He likes to go by AJ. And then Pamela.
Right.
And then Michael.
Yep.
And then Kelly.
I just want to throw this in. Kelly and Jimmy Savon had that romance in seventh grade.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're happily married still
Yeah.
and have their own family. But Michael, you come on the scene, and what made you get interested in basketball? Did your dad say, let's go to some games, and started shooting a ball with you around the house, or what happened?
I just think it's just knowing my father played and all that. I just wanted to pick up a ball and get good at it. And I think I never forced any of my kids. Matter of fact, I had a talk with them all saying, hey, I want you to try baseball. I want you to try basketball. I want you
And
to
uh,
we're
try.
going to get to your kids in a minute. But what do you remember from? Yeah, your
Right.
dad.
So it's the same thing.
Okay.
I used to go as a little kid. I think it was second district. You used to play, didn't you?
Yeah.
just trail. He used to go in an adult league, and I used to sit there and watch all these guys play.
That was a big-time league back then, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yes,
It
it
was
was.
competitive. Yeah, it wasn't soft, if I recall right. But, you know, and he used to, wherever he went and played, I used to sort of just trail along and watch him. And you know, that motivates you to want to play and put the hoop up in the driveway so it's convenient. Get a ball and you just play. Then, you know, as you get a little bit older, lots offered to you at the Y leagues and even into elementary school. It was really competitive in elementary school. I went to Neeson Hill. We had 2 teams from Neeson Hill. First District had 2 teams. East End had a team or 2, and Second District had 2 teams. So I didn't know any of my teammates. We weren't good friends by any means.
Right.
Even down at the Y, it was competitive.
Sure.
It was not like we hugged or anything. We were out for each other. You know, really didn't know them yet.
Did
so
you play some of Heidi Cooper too back then?
Not that early.
Okay. That's right. You were only in elementary school at that
Right.
point.
I would wander down there because I just lived right through the
Sure,
woods,
right.
you know, down the hill, and I had some bad moments there. I mean, with my good friends later on.
Right.
You know, but didn't play there yet, but played against them all at the Y and like I said, in our school league. So.
Tony, when he was playing as a young man, could you tell that when he got older he was going to be a nice player?
Yes. I coached him in 5th grade.
How hard is it? Because I did that to my daughter when they were in softball and so forth. Isn't it tough to coach your own kid?
Yes, it is.
You put more pressure on your own kid
Well,
than
that's
anybody.
because I played ball, and there's things that I think that he should have been doing like I was able to do, but he was too young. He was in 5th
Right.
grade. But, yeah. And he's right about how tough those grade school leagues were. They were.
A lot of good talent.
A lot
in those
of good
teams.
talent.
So, did you enjoy playing for your dad?
Oh yes, I had a picture there I could have brought out too, but we ended up winning the Y League against all those guys, you know. So that was
Him and Joey Gray had some real good battles.
oh yeah, we got double teched up quite a bit. I mean, he started pimping, I went right back at him. So, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I have nothing but good memories about it.
And you get into 7th and 8th grade, and I think Meadville at that time, if I'm not mistaken, jump in here, Mike, is starting to make a coaching change.
7th and 8th grade?
At the varsity level. They're starting to make a change at the varsity level when you're in 7th and 8th grade. I think Coach Price starts coming on the scene,
Yes, that is correct. And I got to give a shout out to my 2 coaches, 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah, please do.
Richard Stenson
Great
and
guy.
Doug McClure.
Great 2 people. Very
And now you're talking about all of us getting together. We're all at the same
Right.
school now, so it was our first year. We're, you know, just becoming friends.
I was going to say, now you have to be teammates.
Yeah, we knew now we're teammates, and now it starts.
And back then, too, I mean, a lot of kids went out, so those coaches had to make so
Yes.
many, correct?
That's right. We had a big team, and I remember actually they were on vacation, and my grandmother was watching this house, and I'm running around the house. I hit my toe against the door, and I just seen my sock going the other way. And I'm sick because tryouts are like
Yeah. Right
2
there.
days. I'm in the bathroom with it shut. I'm trying to pull that thing back in. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm not going to make the team. It's
Right.
tryouts, and these guys don't know me, Coach Stenson and McClure. Well, they end up obviously keeping me, but they did a fabulous job. I mean, probably one of my favorite times, 7th and 8th grade basketball. Plus, I think we were 30-1 that year as a team. So right then and there, we thought maybe we have something special, you know.
And then you get up to the 9th grade level. Are you on varsity in 9th grade? Are you playing 9th JV? Where are you at now?
No, 9th grade, Coach Capello.
Okay.
At the time, Ron Cremonese,
And you're playing these games at the junior high then? 7th
Yes.
grade? Yeah, right.
the old junior
The
high.
old bandbox.
Ron Cremonese, Joey Gray, and Michael Burnett got moved up,
Okay.
which is why I think I'm great friends with every one of them.
Mhm.
Every one of them. But I thought Tommy Wolford and I had a special closing. We stayed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was probably $125 soaking wet back then. Was the reason I was told.
Junior high then had 7th and 8th and 9th grade classes in that building.
Yes. So Tommy and I got real close our 9th grade year. And by the way, I don't know if you know this about Tommy. He probably shouldn't have made the 7th and 8th grade team. He was that bad. So there's a perfect example of not giving up on a kid.
Sure.
Doesn't mean it's going to get you playing time.
Right.
But, you know, they didn't cut him. They kept him in 7th and 8th grade. Then he couldn't dribble and make a layup. If he tried, it would end up at half court. That's how much touch he had. And it was that bad.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. But he kept him. And so 9th grade, he was getting a little better. But I remember after every practice, I'd say, Tommy, come here. And we'd go to a hoop by ourselves. I'd say, here's a ball. Go up, make a layup. Just stand in there. And he'd go up. And, you know, he's sort of intimidating as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd come right down on his head or his shoulder, and he's like, what the heck? I go, Tommy, you have got to go up strong. You've got to learn there's going to be a lot of contact and this and that. So every practice, at the end of every practice, we'd go over there and work on his game. And he was a great player by the end of it. I mean, he went to Butler for a semester or so and broke the scoring record there. So that goes to show you from not being able to make a layup in 7th grade to being a pretty good player. But, yeah, we stayed 9th grade. And,
So you had a good 9th grade year, and now you get up to the JV varsity level as a sophomore, and you start playing as a sophomore on the varsity level. Tell us.
not right away.
Do you remember who's ahead of you at the positions?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I can't.
And Coach Price was varsity coach. Was Coach Jones a JV coach?
Yes, Coach Jones was JV, so played for him. Success-wise, I can't really remember, but I kept working hard, and I got a shot maybe halfway through or so, I believe, and to play varsity. And I remember my first varsity minutes I got wasn't real successful. I just remember I got trapped at half court, and, you know, just wasn't ready for that. But Coach Price didn't give up on me. He gave me the ball again, and then from there I got a lot of playing time. So
When you would come home from a game, 9th grade, JV, or 7th and 8th grade at that time, you sit down with Dad, and would Dad say, "Let me give you a few pointers, Michael. You know, maybe you need to do this," or so forth. Even so, you had your own coaches, being that your dad was so knowledgeable. Tony, did you give him a few pointers sometimes? Or maybe, you know, sometimes kids don't want to hear it right after.
Yeah, not as much as you're thinking, but I think probably in his, I pretty much kept quiet till about his junior year. There's a couple things that I wanted him to do as a point guard, and that's probably.
Yeah, I mean, we would have talks. I mean, he sort of let me go, but I think a lot of it is like any father, like seeing my kids, just aggressive.
Right.
Be more aggressive. And I think that's why he used the word nonchalant a lot. You're too nonchalant, you know. So
My
you know,
favorite word, nonchalant.
He just wanted me to be more aggressive, whether it was offensively or creating or whatever.
That's a good word, because I think Michael saw that in one of his sons, and his son really turned up the juice in the second half of this season,
Yes.
I think.
Mhm.
But let's go back to, okay, so now and as you're moving up, the Meadville basketball program is getting real good. And they're starting to attract a lot of people in this town, and they're selling season tickets. I mean, which is unbelievable for high school.
Yeah, we had some big footsteps to fall there. I mean, there was some success in the early 80s.
Right.
I mean, they did real well. So the program was definitely thriving. Fans expected winning.
So how much fun was that for you and your teammates, though, knowing every time when you played at home you had a capacity crowd?
Yep.
I mean, that must have been unbelievable. And when you ran out, the whole gym went nuts.
What it does for us, any players like it was this year, right? I mean, it definitely gives you adrenaline, motivation. To play in front of a half fielder, I mean, it's not the same. It was really fun running out and just hearing the noise of screaming and the community cheering for you.
So your junior year, you're starting at the point guard, if I'm not mistaken, and the team does pretty well.
we did real well. We didn't have a real great year
Right.
as far as
Right.
record goes or anything.
Right.
We got hot at the right time.
Right.
We ended up going into the playoffs and getting hot. We made it all the way to the Western Final against Kiski. I actually wanted to film and asked Leach for it, but he couldn't. He's missing that time frame because my memory, I just know I was in the locker room at halftime thinking, I cannot believe we're going to Hershey. That's how far up we were.
Right.
I'm thinking it was 20 points. Maybe somebody can correct me on this, but I'm thinking we're owning this team. So, well, then it went.
remember like it was yesterday too, because I was one of the people who was at the game.
And then you had a couple Division I players.
So
got
you
hot.
had that disappointment as that game ends.
Yes.
Does that fuel the team for next year? You guys saying, hey, nobody's denying us from going to Hershey?
It does fuel us, just like I think it does at any level. Even the professionals, they use that as motivation. We kept at it. We kept playing. We tried to get better. We knew who we had coming back. We lost a couple good players that year. The height, Anthony Lindsay and Gary Cheney. Those are two big guys.
Yes.
And Ron Kermanese was on that team for most of the year.
Right.
Losing him, those are three pretty big guys that we are missing. But with the nucleus we had coming back, we still felt we could do something with it.
And you had Michael back, which isn't a bad person to have coming back. But tell us about Coach Price a little bit, because if I remember, Coach Price was a unique coach because he knew what kids he could push the button with and what kids he would just pat and not say much.
Yes.
I remember Joey Gray looked like a battering ram sometimes. Looked like he was all over Joey all the time.
He confirmed that, too. He was a good coach. I don't know how young he would have been back then, but I just know he ate, slept, and he just loved the game. He anything he could learn from it. I know I could just imagine seeing him studying it, and he always had something new the next practice, and so he didn't mind playing. He was a great guy to play for. Got us going, just like any coach. We at certain times we get hyped up. We expect more. We want, it ain't really directed at a player, but it's more like trying to get us a fire lit under us a little bit. So. But no problems at all. I think his record speaks for itself.
So your senior year, things go pretty well. You get into the playoffs. You guys win some big games that year, and then the Western Final is going to be in the Erie Insurance Arena now. I think it was the Tulio Center called back then. You guys walk out on the court and look like you're playing a home game.
Yes.
I mean, it was 99% Meadville people there. They had 1% of their fans, if they were lucky.
Yeah, it was definitely
6,002. There was
Yeah.
I think people said on 79, it was just all you seen was tail lights, just bumper to bumper.
Interesting you said that too, Mike, because and I think this year came back a little bit. But when you played those junior, senior year, there was a caravan every place Meadville went to play. Remember, Tony? I mean, and even away games, people was an outing. People would go early. They'd have dinner somewhere. They'd go take their friends. They'd meet at the place where the game was.
When you get 4,000 to 6,000 people going to a high school basketball game, I mean, really?
I remember Ray Horner, who did the games back then, saying, "This is if you want to rob some houses in Meadville, these are the nights to do it and be the playoffs because nobody left in town."
Yeah.
It just wasn't the Meadville fans. The older I get and the more people I meet, it was the surrounding area.
Oh, yeah.
We had a bunch of support
No
from
question.
Sagertown, Cameron Springs, and even further out. So
you get to that game, and that game is, as we remember, one heck of a game. It was a nail biter going down.
It's nip and tuck.
So let's go through the shot you made. And I always said this on the air many times, the shot that's heard around Meadville, around the world for Meadville fans. Because it looked like to me that you might have been off balance a little bit, and that baby went in. Did you receive a pass from someone? Did you bring the ball up? Explain what happened.
Well, leading up to that, obviously, we had the ball in regulation tied. Not much time left. I mean, we had to inbounds it, and I had to get it up the court. And I'm zigzagging or whatever, and I actually get it knocked away from behind me, and it falls into Tom Wolford's hands. And he throws up a shot that doesn't go in, so now we're into overtime. And talking about the previous year, I'm sick. I'm half sick to my stomach, thinking there's no way
Not again, right?
this is going to happen again.
Right.
because there really is no momentum. I mean, it's anybody's game here. I mean,
Sure.
it was that close the whole way. And so now, it's back and forth again in overtime. And once again, we get it. Actually, they made a great shot, tough shot to tie it. And we get it with several seconds left. And,
9.
And I'm once again zigzagging, and I stop at the left-hand elbow. Probably there's 3 guys on me, so somebody was open, by the way.
You didn't have a lot of time to think about
so
it.
that's where I just knew time was ticking,
Right.
and so I went up to shoot it, and I believe the guy behind me blocked it. So I was fortunate enough to see it come right back into my hands, and just quickly as I could shoot it toward the hoop. With, I think by the time I released it, there was 2 seconds or less left. So, and then seeing that thing,
Everybody in
and
the crowd
seeing that
watching
thing go in,
ball. We're all like,
yeah. There were so many big plays in that game.
all right,
though.
but let's talk about that. It goes in, and then do you remember anything else? Because you got like tackled and buried under the biggest pile in the world at that moment,
Yes,
including Coach Price. I think who lost his glasses in that pile.
I
Yeah.
just didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew I needed to run, and I just ran the length of the court until it was Coach Price. Actually, he V-lined off the bench, and we go down. It's me and him at the bottom, and believe it or not, from there I got a little scared. I didn't know what was going on above me. I have video of it now, but I do know it was getting harder and harder to breathe.
Right.
And Coach Price was sort of in panic mode also. As somebody was on his leg and he's screaming, and I'm like, well, now it goes from being pretty happy to, okay, what's going to happen now? Is this the way it ends? But I just know, then I think he jumped over the railing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was frightened for
Sure.
for Michael and
Sure.
Coach Price, because there was like
Oh yeah.
there was 100 or so people
yeah.
on top of him. So I jumped over the railing and see what I couldn't get to him. So that picture that that's on that tin plate that he
Right.
took,
We have.
where we're hugging,
Mhm.
I ran into the locker room to see if he was okay, and that's what that picture's all about.
As a dad, what does that feel like to you when you see your son hit a shot like
Oh.
that, Tony?
You can't you can't explain that. I mean, it's a dream. No, you can't explain anything. It's the greatest thing I've ever had happen to me in basketball. Was that shot by my son?
A shot that you'll be, people will remember for the rest of their lives too. And the other thing I remember, and maybe you don't, Tony, because you ran out there. Maybe you do. Maybe you got hit by them. But there was a million Hershey Kisses flying down on that arena.
Well, I
too.
did see that. I saw the Hershey Kisses
They were
flying.
flying.
Somebody actually threw a whole bag, so they were half coming out, and if you slow mode me running, I got hit right here with it, and I brushed it off and kept going. But yeah, they were flying everywhere.
Okay, so you're done playing basketball. Did you think about playing anymore after high school, Michael?
I did. Still loved the game. Still thought I could play. I was getting a lot of looks Division III, and if there's one thing I could probably take back, a kid,
Sure.
teenager,
Right.
I thought I was better than that at the time. So I visited Edinburgh locally and got a partial scholarship to go there. So that's what I chose to do. Played there a year and a half. Things weren't working out. But I have some peace because for a year and a half competing with my teammates, I did feel I could play Division II. But going back, if I could do it again, I'd probably go Division III. I'll be honest with you. Especially now, it's very competitive. I don't know if you've watched any Division III lately, but there's some really good talent there.
No question about
But so after a year and a half, I stopped for reasons I'd rather not get into. But and believe it or not, from that point on, until my kids were born, I never touched a basketball.
Right.
It was over 10 years.
Yeah, you were like.
I picked the golf clubs
Yeah,
up.
you had, I was going to say you came a scratch golfer.
I was
in golf.
I almost got burnt out at that point. Didn't play in any rec leagues. Didn't do anything. I just picked up the golf clubs, and that was my focus at that point. So until they get now the golf clubs are back downstairs, and the basketball's back down.
Tell us how you meet your boss, your wife.
We just, when I was out of college, working locally, we just ran into each other a few times. Actually, first got to look at her at the Y. She was a gymnastics coach. She still helps out once a week, but then she was really involved in it, and I'd go down there to work out, but not, and she caught my eye. So
You're like what they all saying back in the old days, you were smitten when you saw
yes. So that's where we first met at the Y, and asked her out a little bit later, and then
the rest is
things,
history.
yeah.
And then you have 3 sons. It's
Yes.
almost like the old TV show, Tony, My Three Sons.
Yeah.
So you have 3 sons, and they start showing interest in basketball. I know other sports do baseball, I'm sure, and other things, but then they find a little elementary basketball, and you start saying, like your dad did, maybe I'm going to get into this coaching gig a little bit.
And boy, did I. Having 3 boys, and there's got to be a time where I couldn't do them all, but there's times where, I'm not just talking basketball, I'm talking baseball, whatever they're in. And it's not because I wanted to be the main, but people weren't stepping up, so
Sure.
I had more than happy to spend time with my kids, and I felt I had some knowledge in both. I played both, so. But yeah, they showed interest. As they got older, I said, find what you enjoy. Don't play basketball because of my history or Grandpa's history. Find your thing. At one point, I think they all wanted to play. Maybe it all wasn't their favorite at one time, but I think as they got older or whatever, that probably is their favorite sport. So,
And then you really got into coaching because Meadville makes Coach Price his second tenure. He decides to get out, and Coach McElhaney gets the job, and he offers a position to you, and you take the job. And I think you thought at the beginning you were going to be an assistant, and Coach Jones said, "No, you're going to be the head JV coach." And
yes.
I said, "This is your team, Mike."
Yeah.
I've done this a long time.
Yeah, when Mark offered me a job, it's the level I wanted to go to. Like you said, I've coached so much from elementary all the way up. I wanted kids that were committed now. They knew this. They wanted to be there and play the game. So I still had kids down lower, but this is where I wanted to be. And it's worked out. Coach Jones, the very first game, I figured I'm just going to sit there and learn. This is my first gig at this level. So we sit out, horn blows to start. He goes, "Hey, I go, "What?" I didn't prepare. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but he just threw me right out there. I'll be honest with you, I'm not much of an X and O guy. I look at coaching as, obviously I take it very serious at this level. I got to prepare this group of kids to help out varsity either this year or definitely next year. That's my focus. And the other part of my philosophy in coaching, I got to try to get the best out of every kid. Get them confident in whatever their ability is. It doesn't have to be identical abilities. But if you're a shooter and you have a bad I want you to know, I want you to keep shooting it. I don't care about how many, if they're a good shot, you shoot it. Just getting that mindset. I want them to play relaxed. I want them to play confident, okay? Stay within yourself. Be a good teammate. See the floor, all that. But it's getting each kid to believe to their max in themselves. That's my goal when I coach each individual kid.
And Tony, you and your wife Kathy go to all the games.
All of
for your grandchildren, not just varsity. You get 7th and 8th grade,
Oh, yeah.
elementary. You enjoy that, don't you? Watching your grandkids play.
Yes, I do, and my wife especially. Yeah, she loves to go, and it is fun watching our grandkids playing. Every once in a while, he might be coaching one of the
Sure.
games. We get a kick out of that too. But we enjoy going and watch the grandkids play.
And like you just said, you enjoy probably watching your son coach a little bit.
Oh,
you
yeah.
chuckle a little bit when he gets excited.
But they don't miss too many football games either.
No,
they're pretty good
They're
sport.
fans.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
they are. They probably go to some baseball games too. If
Yeah.
they're
Oh, yeah.
playing. Things that keep active, and that's why I've always said it's why family's so important. And family to me is the number one thing in the world. It's your family, and you guys have a very strong family. So, Mike, we're going to see your three amigos come on the screen. And Mike, thank you, and Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Weaver between the circles. Foul line, I guess that was 17. Baseline tie, Freeman jumper, good, we're tied. Here comes Meadville in a hurry. Meadville streaking all the way down. Hero, foul line, drives left side, jumper knocked away. He gets a second chance. It goes, it's good, the Dogs go to Hershey. Hero hit the jumper, they did it. 52, Meadville wins it. Here we go to Hershey. Does it? The winner at Chester Hero. The first shot was deflected. The second one, Hero threw it up and it went in. 55-52, the arena has erupted. Hello, Hershey.
Back with the three Pirro men, Roman Pirro, Ryan Pirro, and Reese Pirro. And guys, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to ask you some questions about the Pirro chain here. You have your grandpa was a basketball player. Your dad was a real good basketball player. Roman, when you were growing up, I know you played other sports. What made you like focus in on basketball?
Well, basketball was the sport that they could give me the most advice on, I think. And I guess, I don't know, I just took a liking to it. It's really fast-paced. It's something where it's not like football where you have offensive players and defensive players. It's not as slow-paced and planned out as baseball. I mean, it's really just instinctive. I mean, you're just out there. It's extremely fast-paced. You're making split-second decisions. So I guess it was just an exciting game for me.
Did you start playing at the elementary level?
Yep.
For West End? Or did they have their own team, or how did that work?
They were like little, they started out, I think when I was in first grade, it was like on the weekends they'd have, it was more like a basketball camp, but yeah, they'd have like scrimmages and stuff, so yeah.
Okay, and then as you got older, you get into 7th and 8th grade, you're playing on the 7th and 8th grade team. And then you get into 9th grade, and who was your coach in 9th grade?
Billy Knoll.
Okay. And did you really like basketball even more when you got to 9th grade?
Yeah, I did, because, I mean, that was the year that we lost some players due to injury, and some players moved up. So I got to see a lot more time, and I got to work on my game a lot more that year. And also, since it was high school, I looked more to the varsity players as like a role model, as an example. So yeah, and I felt myself getting closer to that because I knew the next year I was in JV. So I mean, that's when it felt like it was getting real, I think.
And if I remember right, Coach Noel was a pretty good coach as far as getting kids to be a little more aggressive in their play, correct?
Yeah.
So tell me about when you get to the 10th grade. Who's your coach now?
My dad was the JV coach when I played 10th grade.
How'd you feel about that? You know, knowing you go into the 10th grade and Dad's going to be the coach. Did you feel any pressure? Seriously. It's going to be a tough situation.
It was kind of weird. He coached my 6th grade team so that really wasn't too weird for me. But for some reason, when I heard the news that he was going to be coaching, assistant coach for varsity and coaching JV, that seemed kind of different. I guess just because it was a more important stage, more focused on stage. So yeah, I guess there was a little pressure to obviously the legacy of my grandpa and my dad was something that it was on my mind all the time. But eventually I got over that, and it was just like him coaching me in the driveway.
Okay, and then your junior year, you had some success. You were kind of like a role player your junior, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the things that I always attributed to you, Roman, I was always impressed with watching from the booth, was how nothing that looked like bothered you, in a sense, where some kids might have said, I'm never going to play, you know, this isn't worth it. But you busted your butt all the time in practice, you worked hard in the games, and what I like to say is you're one of these athletes to refuse to let a coach not notice you. You're going to get in there and knock that door down one way or the other. Where do you get that from?
I think that was just from myself, really, because I just looked at the situation. I'm like, I'm only getting a few minutes each game. I'm going to go out there and just work for more if I can. Like, I'm going to dive after balls, or I'm going to take the shot if I have it. I'm going to try to be confident and, just do my best and give it my all for those few minutes that I would have out there.
Now, this year's team, as we know, had a good year, really good year, and we'll talk to Ryan in a second. But your senior season last year, many people thought that was going to be a great year, and you guys had a real good year, and then you get into the playoffs, and unfortunately some things didn't work out, but you had some good playoff games. What do you remember from your senior year?
I think my best memory was just beating Cathedral Prep to get to D10, just because that in itself, getting to the D10 championship was a milestone, because
it was
first time since I think 89
89, that's right,
89 that we got to the D10 championship. So that was really special to me. Also, just seeing the amount of support we had that year was just incredible. Even though Meadville has shrunk since 89, and we had outstanding support during the playoff games. I mean, people would just be driving down all season, not even just the playoffs. So, I mean, that was a really special moment. It felt like it was just one big family, just the school, the community, everything. So, yeah, I said that'd be my best memory.
This year, you're your first-year student at main campus at Penn State. Tell everybody what you're taking.
Majoring in chemical engineering.
Yeah, bright young man right there, chemical engineering. So your brother's on a team this year that's doing real well.
Yeah.
What did it feel like you being there and the team back here doing well? Did you find out scores and communicate with your brother Ryan or your dad, or how'd that work?
Yeah, my parents would text me updates and stuff on how Ryan did, how the team was doing, and every once in a while when I come back home to visit, I'd hear about it. For the Western PA final, I drove to that because I was only in Altoona, 40-some minutes away.
Right.
And then I went to Hershey for the state championship. And when he got out on the floor the last few minutes of the state championship, I was a little jealous. I think he shot a 3 that was pretty close to going in. And it was kind of weird. I was half rooting for it to go in because he was my brother, but half not because I didn't want him to score in a state championship when I didn't get to. So
you'd have to live with that.
Yeah, I'd have to live with that in my head.
All right, Ryan, let's go to you. You start playing a lot of different sports. You still are. You're going to be a senior this year coming into Meadville High School. What do you like about basketball?
Well, when I was younger, I guess I liked baseball better, and these two, both, their favorite sport growing up was always basketball. And I would do them both every year, and I guess baseball just kind of started wearing off, and basketball, I like, because baseball games, you don't get the rush of the audience. There's hardly anybody there. In basketball, when you walk into the gym on a packed night, it's definitely a different feeling than baseball is. And I guess just the game grew on me. I got more in shape, so the running wasn't as big of an issue. And that was always one of the bigger reasons I think I like baseball more. You don't have to run unless you hit.
So Ryan was sitting on the couch eating potato chips while you and Reese were running up and down the court. That was it.
Yeah.
Ryan, let me ask you this question, and I alluded to this when I was talking to your dad and your grandfather. They talked about, not desire, but I forgot the word they used, but I always felt watching you play at the beginning of the year that you were thinking a lot. You knew you were thinking, and then by the middle of the season, something clicked, and you started saying, enough thinking, I'm going to the hoop, I'm going to attack the basket, I know I can put the ball in, and you became really aggressive. Why did the clock go on? What happened?
I don't know. My dad tells me that too. I think too much, and I would agree with that. I find it's easier for other people to react more than me, and I just figured, I guess, going to the hole, not thinking, react, just letting it happen was a better situation for me, and I guess I still have to work on finishing at the hoop, but at least I'm getting there now.
definitely. And you know, next year, you guys, young people that are coming back, do you think there's going to be pressure on you guys after what this team did, or are you guys just going to go out and I always believe when you play, you should have fun. You know, it's a sport. You know, it's a game, too. I always try to tell people in the stands it's a basketball game. You know, it's not life or death. But, yet, you want to have fun, but you also want to play well. So, what do you think about next year?
Yeah, I think there'll be some pressure because Meadville's been so well for, I don't know, the last
Couple of years?
4 years. We've done pretty well, so I guess there's that, but...
Well, they won the section the last 3.
Yeah. But I don't know. Playing with this group, we've played with each other forever. I think it'll be definitely the funnest year, as senior year should be. But LaShawn, always playing with him growing up was always fun, and just knowing that we'll have that next year, I think it'll be.
What was it like for you being part of this year's team, especially, you know, you went to the game in the Western Final. I mean, we're playing a team Northeastern, 30-2, they come in. Monty Forster's on the bench with 6.5 minutes left. People in the stands are saying, okay, this is over, you know, maybe at least I got this far. What was the discussion during those timeouts and on the bench? Was everybody still up? Was everybody like saying, hey, you know, we can still do this?
I think we all still believed. Everyone was still cheering, and to be honest, I was getting pretty nervous because Coach McElhaney just came down and said, get ready, you might be going in for foul shots, and that was a pretty scary moment.
Sure.
And I know everyone was in foul trouble, I think, that game.
Right.
LaShawn was, Sim was,
Yep.
So I knew one more person getting fouled out, that could mean I'm going in the game. That was pretty nerve-wracking, but I think everyone still had hope.
It would be. Let's go down to the end here to Reese. Scott, report on you, Reese, as you were quite the ball handler.
Yeah, I've practiced a lot in the driveway, and I play at the Y, too.
You've been playing ball since you're about 2 years old, I hear?
Yeah.
Why do you like basketball?
Well, I guess
Because you watch your brothers playing?
Yeah, I guess I watch them do it, and I just try to, like, live up to what they do, and I've liked the game ever since I started.
What grade are you going into?
9th.
So are you playing 9th grade, or you might be JV? We're not sure yet, probably, where you're going to fall at this time. But you suffered a little bit of an injury. Why don't you tell us about it, and how is it?
It's doing really good. It was during the Oil City tournament, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
It was championship game, double overtime, I'm pretty sure. And I got tripped up and I fell on my elbow, and I think it was 1-on-1. I was headed to the foul line, but my dad called a timeout, and I knew I wasn't gonna be able to do it, so I sat. so I sat, and we finished the game and we won it, luckily. And then after that, I went to the ER, and they said I was broken. And he said I might need surgery, so I visited Dr. Patch the next day, and he said I was going to need surgery. And that day after that, I got surgery.
And now, how is it?
It's doing really good.
Really good.
All
Are
healed.
you still rehabilitating it, or are you back 100% yet? Or
Yeah, I just finished my last physical therapy last Wednesday.
okay, great. So you're on your road to recovery here.
Yeah.
You guys ever watched the film of the team your dad was on?
Many
Called
times.
the Slamming Dogs.
We have a DVD in there.
Two.
Two? Yeah, that we've watched many times. So, yeah, we're very familiar with that highlight reel.
A lot of good talent on that team, wasn't
Yeah.
there? Huh? I mean, you know, unbelievable amount of talent, and your dad was, you know, the right man at the right time to be the quarterback of that team. Had a lot of skill. Who's the best athlete amongst you three?
Well, who plays the most sports? It's me, so I'd say me.
Yeah, but who can still win in all those sports? Probably me.
It's definitely not him.
No, because he's the. Oh, you know, one nice thing, Reese. Remember this: you're always going to be the youngest, and as we guys get older, and in the 30s and 40s, you're going to like that because they'll be 40 before you will. They'll be 50 before you will. They'll be 60 before you will. So that's a nice thing. You got to be the youngest. It's not bad being the youngest in the family. Your game, Reese, as you get into 9th grade, how good of a basketball player do you want to become, or how good of a basketball player do you want to be?
The greatest I can be.
Well, that's a good answer. That's exactly right. The best you can be. So you're playing this summer?
Yeah.
Ryan, you're playing this summer?
Mm-hmm.
And Roman, you're working.
Yeah, I'm working.
You need that money for college,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
What do you want to do after next year? 'Cause it's hard to believe, Ryan, that next year you're a senior. Right?
Yeah, that is.
It goes fast, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's pretty shocking. I think I want to. I'm gonna try to get into Penn State, Maine, and looking into business, their business department. I'm weighing in my options of what I can do with that, but that's where I'm gonna apply first, and then maybe I might apply to Ohio State, Temple,
Nice.
other good business
Nice.
schools.
Yeah, good
So,
schools too. You get to go to the high school next year.
Mm-hmm.
Added the little middle school into the big high school halls and so forth. One thing I got to chuckle about you, Roman, it was when Journey was getting recruited by Penn State, and I think he signed or just before he signed, and I was reading Facebook stuff, and I see Roman's tell Journey I want to be his agent. I thought that was pretty good.
He agreed to that, so that I need to get a contract made
Yes.
first so we can sign it and
There
make it
you go.
official. But
Who knows? I mean, James Conner from McDowell is playing for the Steelers now,
Yeah.
so you never know. All right, guys, I want to thank all three of you for coming on. Roman, good luck. Continue good luck at Penn State. You're going to be a very successful young man. You've been mature by the years since I've known you. Ryan, the ladies' man. Good luck to you your senior year. Have a great senior year. And Reese, you're just starting your high school journey, so good luck to you the next 4 years. And I'm sure Dick Kress will come up with a nickname for you. Yours was Roman Candle, I think he came up with, and I'm not sure Ryan came up with one for you yet or not, but I know he will.
My grandpa likes to call him the Road Runner.
The Roadrunner. Yeah.
her uncle likes to call him Reese Lightning.
Reese Lightning. Both of them are pretty good. All right, gentlemen, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Now we're back, and about the three young men, Roman, Ryan, and Reese Piro.
Very well spoken. It was a great visit. Very good job, Mike. That was a good one.
Thank you. And we got to do it out on Mike's deck. We want to thank Mike and allowing us to come to his house and his dad, Tony, and what a wealth of information Tony was about his career.
Right.
Playing and also playing up at Youngstown.
Some great stories for sure.
Yeah.
I know.
Just great. And of course, Mike Piro hit the shot heard around Crawford County that will last forever. And his legacy to spur the Bulldogs to the trip to Hershey back in the 80s.
Yep.
So thanks again, Piros. All right, what's going on here? The All-Star game.
All-Star game's coming up. Home Run Derby. Do you still watch that? Do you like to
I
watch
will
it?
this year with Aaron Judd in it.
Yeah, he could probably hit a couple out. Yeah.
How about that young kid for the Dodgers?
Bellinger. Yeah, he's.
Wow.
I saw he had hit 20 home runs faster than anybody in Major League
He
history.
just hit 21st just recently also. Yeah, and he's got the most RBIs by a kid at his age. So many games.
They're going to be
His
a
dad
force.
played ball.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, yeah, they're going to be a force. The Dodgers, look out for them for a while. It seems that they're back. They're going to be good for a while.
Well, they got the best pitcher in baseball, I think.
They do. Kershaw's good, and then you look at that lineup. Seems like every year too, they're a team that always seems to have a Rookie of the Year candidate. Ever since for how long you can remember.
Ever. Forever.
They have to have an incredible farm system.
I would feel, unless they fall on their face in the second half of the season, they're going to cruise to that Western Division. I know Colorado and Arizona make some noise, but I don't see the Dodgers getting beat for the West. And, boy, the Giants really fell on hard times this year.
Yeah, they really have. The big budget team, I guess, but that division too.
And it's an odd year, so you figured the Giants weren't going to do good.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't pick them in our preview this year.
No.
I learned my lesson. But and that division, you mentioned Arizona and Colorado. It's tough. How long can Colorado stick around? They had the best record in the National League for a long time.
For a while, but I think the Dodgers have, just like you said, they're fit to win, and they're going to win this year. They're going to win the West anyway. You go to the Central, everybody says it's up for grabs, but until you beat the Cubs should still, I think, hold on and win that division.
Yeah, they should on
boy,
paper.
their pitching
but
is not good.
Right, you're right. And guys like Schwarber, he's struggling a lot this year.
He's an American League player.
Yeah, you're probably
He's
right.
a DH.
Yeah. You don't want to face them, but the pitching staff, I don't know. Arrieta, you mentioned off air, he's kind of pitching like he did 2 years ago or 3 years ago in Baltimore.
And the other guys are older. Lieber's older.
Lackey's having some
Emmett is
problems.
older.
Yep. Lester still can't throw to first base.
So they're in disarray, and I think they miss Dave Ross a little bit too.
Yeah, he was good.
Very good at Dancing with the Stars, anyway.
I saw. Yeah, pretty good for a catcher.
Yeah.
You know, a lead-footed catcher.
Came in second.
He did. And then looking at the NL East, I mean, the Nationals, that they don't have a bullpen either.
So they're going to win East.
They're up, yeah.
I mean, the team that was supposed to challenge them, the Mets, so many injuries. Their pitching staff, Harvey is not back. Syndergaard went down.
Well, now DeGrom's pitching like he
DeGrom's
pitched a couple
pitching
years
okay,
ago, but he can't get anyone else in the...
Matz is just coming back. Their catcher for the future and for the present, Darnell, gets hurt all the time. Duda gets hurt all the time. Cespedes has the bad. You know, I found out about Cespedes, and why this is allowed to occur. He squats 500 pounds. Keith Hernandez said during a Met broadcast, I really like Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling. He said, why are you squatting 500 pounds if you're a baseball player?
Especially in season.
And why, though?
Yeah.
If you're a baseball player, what purpose is that?
Right.
Because I never did any squats I was able to hit. So, you know, I think it's all about the home runs and how far you hit them now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So the Mets are in disarray. The Marlins look like they could maybe get a wild card. I don't know.
But you know who one of the most underrated players in the game is? I've always said this for the Marlins for the last couple of years is Yelich.
No
I
question.
mean, looking at what he did at the WBC this winter, and he's the best player on that team. And they got guys, you know, Stanton, of course, will hit his bombs, but Yelich is he's the guy that stirs the drink, if you will.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player. Then you go to American League. Go to American League East. You know, I was filming the Yankees hanging on, but I don't think the Yankees are going to win the East. Their pitching is very suspect. CC went down with an injury. Yeah. I look for the Red Sox to get it together and win that division.
They're hard to root for, but you're probably right. I would agree. Yeah.
I mean, you know, then you get to the Central. The Indians look like they're starting to put it together.
They are, yeah. Bauer, he seems to be the wild card here. If he can put it back together, because I believe at the time of this taping, he has about a 5.50 ERA. If he can put it together and come back to some semblance of last year, then that'll really hold that staff together, because their lineup's going to put up numbers.
And again, Francona, I think, is one of the best managers in the game, and he doesn't lose his mind when the team isn't doing well. He's calm. Surprise team in that division to me is the Twins.
Yeah, they're right up there. It's fun to see, because they haven't done much ever since that stadium opened. I've always liked Joe Mauer. He's always been one of my favorite players, and it's good to see, you know, towards the tail end of his career now. You kind of root for guys like that.
Now, Kansas City, who in Kansas City is going to be gone? Because they're going to be getting rid of like 3 of their stars, and where they're going to go. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, well, Kane, he's kind of like the American League McCutcheon, if you will. He's he'd probably be the hottest ticket on that team to go somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, the Royals will be dumping some players, and then you go out west. Who's the team out west you like?
That's
Texas?
A crapshoot too.
Houston?
Probably Houston. Yeah. I would think that they're the most balanced team out of all of them. I've always liked Altuve.
Was he a good player?
And now Keuchel's back doing what he's been doing. So, yeah, they'll probably run away with that one. Texas, I can't see it. It seems like they're up, they're down. But I believe those would be the 2 teams there at the end. But I can see Houston holding on there.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show on the Piros. We want to thank the Piro family again. For Jim Berger, this is Mike Fierro saying until next time, keep watching Sports Close-Up on Armstrong.